Hey, did you know one of the end goal of having an effective ETL process is the ability to reliably query the data, obtain the insights, and generate the visualization? If you're not aware of what the ETL stands for, check out my previous recording. I'm going to leave the link below for the Mastery Data Strategy playlist. Check it out later. Traditionally, once the data is loaded into data warehouse, it can be viewed using your different tools such as Tableau, Power BI, ClickSense, and so on and so forth. There are three basic principles that need to be understood in context to loading your data into your data warehouse. In this episode, I'm going to give you those three basic principles and a bonus one which no one talks about. Excited to begin? Smash that like button. Welcome to Mastery Data. I'm Raza, and on this channel, I'll help you become a data literate with Mastery Data Strategy. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode 3 times a week to decode data and help you grow with your data understanding. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. You'll get notified every time I drop an episode with data energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, welcome back. It's always awesome to see you over here. Okay, so before we jump into the three basic principles and the bonus one, let's get our basics right. Data warehouse is a dependent entity. What does it mean? Is it does not generate the data by its own. It rather sources the data from your business application or OLTP. If you don't know what OLTP is all about, then check it out the Mastery Data Strategy previous videos. I'm going to leave the link below. Or the third-party source system. Regardless, know this. The source system can be categorized into two groups: homogeneous sources or heterogeneous sources. Now, what is this homogeneous sources? Homogeneous sources is nothing but while you're doing a biz metrics for the customer and its associated transaction for, let's say, retail bank, you've identified that the fact attributes and the dimension attributes are coming from the same source. That source can be anything, right? It can be a database, it can be a flat file. Regardless, it's a single source. You don't need to join it with multiple sources. Fine. So that is what is called as a homogeneous sources, where your fact attributes and the dimension attributes coming from the single source system. Now, in opposed to the homogeneous sources, you have the heterogeneous sources, where your data is getting from disparate source systems. Like example, your fact attribute and the dimension attributes are getting generated from, let's say, a database, partially from the database and partially from the flat files, and so on and so forth. Hope you get this right? So I repeat myself. Homogeneous sources getting the fact attribute and the dimension attribute from the same single source. Heterogeneous sources is getting the data or the fact attribute or dimension attributes to build your enterprise data warehouse or star model from the disparate source system are the heterogeneous sources category, right? Now, that's been understood. Principle number one, initial load. Here's the thing, right? You're built your data warehouse, you're ready with your ETL pipelines, tested, productionized, such that your users can start extracting the value of your data that is residing in your data warehouse. But the thing is, the data warehouse is empty. Now, once you load your data warehouse for the first time, that is considered to be your initial load. Note this but though, right? This initial load is always going to be costly and time consuming as well in terms of server resources and in terms of the volume of data that you load for the first time, because it might be the case that you're loading 10 years worth of data wherein you're building your data warehouse post 10 years of your business been operationalized. That also means that your data is also sourced from different type of sources, heterogeneous sources. Okay, so what I mean by that is, by law, OLTP system might store only 5 years worth of data or so and so forth, or maybe 7 years of worth of data. But rest all the data for making the system effective can be in backup files. So you're getting the data both from the OLTP source systems as well as the backup files. So it becomes a heterogeneous sources. Principle number two, incremental load or refresh load. Once you have this initial load of your data successfully loaded into your data warehouse, it's time to schedule your ETL pipelines to load your daily transactions, that is ongoing process. And this incremental load schedule can be categorized into multiple categories. You can schedule your ETL pipeline on a daily basis. You can schedule your ETL pipeline on a monthly basis. It depends on the source system and its frequencies. There might be some kind of sources that might be coming hourly basis, or maybe minutes, or so and so forth, or maybe an event which is continuously flowing through. You don't know. So the schedule basically is set according to the source system type. Principle number three. Now, here's the thing, right? Your data warehouse over the period of time is corrupted. or in database terminology, it used to be called as a media crash. Okay, perhaps all your dimensions are corrupted, data is corrupted, or just one single dimension data is corrupted, right? Erasing that content of your table and reloading the data in a fresh data from your source system back again is called or considered to be a full refresh. Now, let me pause for a second. Before we jump into the bonus one, are you started seeing the value? If yes, can I request you to smash that like button, because I like it, my team loves it, and so does the YouTube algorithm. Now, let me give you the bonus one that no one talks about. The scenario is something like this. You have a great success with your data warehouse. The implementation was successful. The users started using it, started getting the value out of it. Congratulations though. All right. Anyways, the change is inevitable, right? All businesses, because of dynamic nature of the market environment and so on and so forth, have to change, right? So the business changes demand the data warehouse change as well, right? The result of the change, you end up having to add some kind of attributes, or you wanted to add a new dimension altogether within your star model. But when you add an attribute within an existing dimension or add a dimension altogether within your star model, they are empty, right? So when you repopulate that data, which is backfilled, with the previous historical data, that we call it as a backfilling data, so that you get the holistic view of that information from the very historical point stand. Right? So this is the bonus one that you need to understand, that while the data warehouse it's not just about building the data warehouse. While the data warehouse is running, operationalized, business changes, and the essence of data warehouse is to replicate the business whatsoever in whatever changes it has acquired into. So you can add some attribute, you can add some dimensions, but when you add those attributes or the dimensions, you should have the capabilities, or the data warehouse architecture should be futuristic designed such that it can easily backfill the information that is required within that attribute, right? Now, if you got the value from this episode, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, please. It's me signing off. You would mean a world to me and my team, but if you're with us, you're going to be mastering data. Thank you very much.